United now for life beyond. To those who seek deity's guide, perfectly placed for a dawn ride, to watch the birth of a glorious day.
Key and his extraordinary Kaylee, Mari, have always been two of our most revered forebears. The way Zakarian, Amador, and Sebastian wrote of him was always rich with his wisdom, his expression, his nuanced perception in interpreting deity's wishes. And yet he never spoke. Neither before coming to Estolia nor in his years there did he elaborate on the source of his disability, whether from ignorance or reticence no one knew. The eloquence of soul he possessed, his gift of being heard and understood, was unparalleled. Sometimes Murray was asked to interpret. She could do so with a glance or even the soft touch of her fingertips to his. Though he could not speak, every account of his actions and impact on those early days describes an eloquent, expressive man with much to say and the means to say it. I am mindful, in particular, of Key's thoughts about the dawn. Countless Estolians have since made that climb, following footsteps worn into stone by devotion and time. The path has become the tradition, and the tradition has become the faith. Nothing can quite replace the feeling of completion that the heir apparent and the last resort will encounter on this most eventful of journeys. Xavier Archimedes Zakarian, Capitulo 86.
The ride to the top of Mount Estoliana was strangely fulfilling. Charlotte rode side-saddle on the dainty dapple-grey mare available to her during her stay in Estolia. Camilla and Generaldo accompanied them, as did Laura and Antonio. When they reached the summit, the three couples chose 3 widely spaced locations so each couple could speak quietly.
I got the sense from Percival that there is something special about the dawn,
she said.
Indeed,
Reggie told her.
One of our keepers said that, when possible, it is important to try to have the first view of our land by any outsider to be during the dawn.
He paused, his expression taking on a faraway look, and continued.
For as with the dawn of a new day, refreshing and replenishing, so also is the dawn of a part of the life of every soul that visits Estolia. Many there are who glimpse our land by dawn, who never leave, having obtained paradise. Care should always be taken to give the gift of an Estolian dawn to those who visit, that they might leave enriched, their life experiences enhanced by that touch of the greatest spirit of all.
but it was dawn when I arrived.
She pointed out.
So why this morning ride?
The colours were extraordinary. He stepped closer, turning her toward the rising sun, and his arms came around her from behind. She let herself lean back into his warmth, into the crisp coolness of the morning air, and they stood silent as the dawn went through its paces. The colours began to fade. She had seen this before, not the sunrise itself, but this posture. The way Percival had stood on the deck of the Amador, with Marina folded backward into him, his arms circling her as the harbour came into view. Charlotte went still in Reggie's embrace, the memory sharpening her awareness of exactly where his hands rested, how her weight pressed against him, what it meant that she had not moved away. The colours faded to ordinary morning. Once the sky no longer blazed like stained glass, she turned in his arms.
Camilla said I should ask you why birthdays matter so much here.
His smile softened the angles of his face, and his eyes warmed as they held hers. When he kissed her, she felt it everywhere at once. A rush of heat, a thudding in her ears, the particular rightness of his hand at her waist. She wanted to say something, but no words came. The morning suddenly seemed brighter than it had been.
Beautiful Charlotte,
he said after he pulled back slightly.
I've wanted to tell you about my birthday and its importance, but I was afraid.
You were afraid?
I feared that you would not understand.
He glanced around and then led her towards a rock outcrop so they could sit comfortably facing one another.
Tonight, after the ceremony for my cousin, we will have the ball I spoke of on the morning of your arrival, the one where I asked you to be my partner.
I remember.
She said.
Do you remember what you asked me during that first carriage ride to the palace?
She frowned slightly, unable to remember what he was talking about.
I recall asking many questions.
She pointed out.
You asked me if I had someone in mind to become my bride.
He had told her. He had someone he planned to marry. The words echoed, each syllable ringing in her ears until her palms grew damp. She'd felt only a flutter of disappointment then, riding in the carriage. She'd forgotten since, but now the thought of him wedding anyone else stopped her breath, as if something vital had torn inside her, something she could not name and could not survive.
I remember,
she whispered.
I'm hoping that by the end of the evening I will be able to convince you.
He broke off, colour rising in his cheekbones.
Convince me of what?
Charlotte, I wish for you to be the woman who keeps my soul safe. I want to proclaim you as my Kaylee to my father the king and to my uncle the keeper. I ask you to consent to be the future queen of Estolia and the mother of our children.
She stared at his face in fascination, taking his words in and slowly processing them. Her heart began to speed up as they sank in.
Reggie.
She said his name, trying to figure out what to say to him. She broke off and then said inanely,
What has this to do with your birthday, or the dawn?
He smiled at her. He was the most handsome man she had ever known. The thought of having him as her husband was almost beyond her powers of imagination. Her heart was hammering in her chest, reminiscent of the feel of the train on the tracks as it sped towards Barcelona.
Charlotte, I wish to declare before deity, my father and my uncle, that my soul is in your keeping, my future in your arms. It is traditional that the heir apparent find the woman to keep his soul safe, and on his 30th birthday he has a profound and irrevocable exchange with her. I wish to make that exchange with you.
What do I have that you could possibly want?
He had many things she could easily covet, but she did not possess anything that he did not already have in abundance.
You have your purity, Charlotte, and the ability to give me a son.
That brought a riot of colour to her face.
Reggie, you're talking in riddles. Please just tell me plainly what you're trying to say.
He stood and pulled her to her feet. He drew her close to him. His lips settled gently over hers and he kissed her. The heat between them escalated. When he pulled back, they were both breathing heavily.
Charlotte, tonight, with your consent, I will gift unto you my soul as fair exchange for being the man to whom you gift your purity. We will then spend 7 days in isolation together. At the end of those 7 days, we will seek and obtain the sanction of deity for our union. Then, having our relationship ratified by deity, my uncle will declare us married for all time, and everything there is after time itself ceases to matter. Having fulfilled the most critical requirement that I was born knowing I had a duty to fulfill, I will then be affirmed as the heir apparent to become King of Estolia, and you, Charlotte, will be declared a princess. You will become Queen of Estolia 7 days after our son is born. You will also conceive our son tonight, when we pledge to each other to be together for eternity.
He pulled her close to him, and she could feel the lean, hard strength of his hips against her own. Everything he said seemed to whirl round and round her head. She could not believe what he was saying. She thought of Laura's dark-haired, vivacious beauty, or Camilla's spun gold locks.
Why me?
She asked, even as she wanted to scream yes as loud as she could.
Because, my dear, when I met you, I recognized that you were my true soulmate, the one woman capable of keeping my soul. My uncle told me that I would meet my destiny when I met the Amador. He believed that one of the 3 young ladies that my great-uncle was escorting to Estolia would possess the key to my heart and soul. If ever I was inclined to doubt the great spirituality of the keeper, I learned the instant I saw you that he is in fact a conduit to deity. How else could he have known what you would mean to me?
She looked down at his chest, trying to figure out which one of his assertions she was supposed to discuss or even refute. All she could think to say was,
Generaldo is having his birthday on your birthday.
His laughter sounded carefree and joyous, and he pulled her close to give her a hug. Whispering in her ear, he said,
You know what I want, beautiful Charlotte. Please decide if you wish to accept me. If you cannot accept me, tell me so before we are alone together this night. I promise to honor your decision.
Without waiting to hear what she had to say, he grabbed her hand and led her back over to where Zephyr, her beautiful mare, stood ready. Soon they were both mounted and crossing over to join the other 2 couples.
Are you ready to return?
Reggie asked them.
Yes, cousin.
Generaldo said, radiating satisfaction. Antonio and Laura, however, wore expressions that suggested their conversation had yielded nothing so rewarding.